This is the WZRD News for Friday, March 25th, 2022. Musical accompaniment by Dave Stryker from the album As We Are. A 2021 study from Freddie Mac found that 12.5% of appraisals for home purchases in Black neighborhoods and 15.4% in Latino neighborhoods came in below the contract price, compared with 7.4% of appraisals in white neighborhoods. When refinancing, undervaluation could reduce the cash out available and result in higher interest rates and mortgage insurance premiums. While home appraisals are supposed to be independent, fair, and objective estimates of market value, so lenders can accurately evaluate risk, the results depend upon the appraiser's expertise and familiarity with the neighborhood, the Biden administration report found. Much rests on the appraiser's selection of comparable properties and how they weigh those selections. The appraisal industry remains one of the country's least diverse professions. 98% of appraisers are white, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Research has shown that appraisers choose comps in a narrower geographic range for properties in Black and Latino neighborhoods than in white neighborhoods, the report said. You've been told these houses can't get this expensive. It's Prince George's County. It's an all-Black neighborhood. It's a stigma, said Jack Sanso, an appraiser in the region since 2005, who is Black. Until we get a diverse workforce, this is going to continue to happen. The federal report was the product of an initiative on property appraisal and valuation equity that President Biden announced as part of his focus on addressing systemic racism and closing the racial wealth gap. Led by Housing and Urban Development Secretary Marsha L. Fudge and Domestic Policy Council Director Susan Rice, the task force recommended that the appraisal industry diversify to more accurately reflect American communities and require anti-bias, fair housing training for those who conduct appraisals for federal programs. Fudge, too, has said she is affected by appraisal bias in her neighborhood outside of Cleveland. The appraisal process is so unfair, Fudge said during a recent interview on The Breakfast Club. I live 2 doors from an all-white community. I live in an all-Black community. My lot is bigger. My house is bigger. My house is valued at $25,000 less than the house 2 doors from me. We have lost billions as a people solely through the appraisal process. In the San Francisco Bay Area, a Black couple has sued their appraiser, alleging bias after their home was valued at nearly $500,000 more once a white friend posed as the homeowner. The Justice Department weighed in on the case, filing a statement of interest, asserting that the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in home appraisals and that combating housing discrimination is a high priority across the federal government. Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat in California, chairwoman of the House Financial Services Committee, plans to introduce legislation to address systemic appraisal discrimination. Waters called on federal regulators to investigate appraiser misconduct, highlighting an email full of racist stereotypes from an appraiser who predicted that the increased focus on racial bias would prompt appraisers to refuse assignments in minority neighborhoods. Meanwhile, some Black families are forced to consider whether it makes financial sense to buy a home in a predominantly black neighborhood that might not be properly valued by appraisers. Jacqueline Priestley, a public relations executive, and her banker husband built a home in majority black Prince George's County in Bethesda. They moved into their new home, which cost $1.68 million in April 2021. But when they got it appraised to turn their construction loan into a 30-year conventional mortgage loan, the house was assessed at $1.3 million. They had to come to the closing with twice as much cash as they had anticipated. Priestley shared their experience with neighbors and discovered a pattern of undervaluation. They started a grassroots network called Fair and Unbiased Appraisal Advocates. Their message, Black Homes Matter. The goal, she said, is to empower other black homeowners to understand their rights, appeal unfair appraisals, and file complaints with the state, a resource she had not known was available. There is a cascading effect to low appraisals, creating a stagnation that looms over black people at every socioeconomic level, Priestley said. It can stifle the ability to create generational wealth. You're saying black people can only go so far. Source: Washington Post, March 3rd, 2022.